Yo. So this will be a little different from how I usually do things. This time I kind of wanted to have more of a technical type of video than the usual gaming content. And this is going to be mostly about my Linux journey, right? Or how I started off getting into Linux, which, of course, as anything starts off, is getting yourself a Linux box. So what I did, and what you see like right before you now, is a gigabytebrix uh, kit. So basically, this is the mini computer, or a mini PC, I should say. But of course, it came without the RAM. So it's the CPU. Everything's on there. But the only thing that I had to purchase myself was, of course, the RAM. So right now you see here, um, I have the 8 gigabyte DDR4 SODIMM Crucial. So I got this off of Amazon, of course, not sponsored by the way. But yeah, here's the basically what I got from Amazon. So as you see, it's the same type as that. So um, after basically putting in the RAM, because that's pretty much all you have to do. There isn't really too much that you need to do as far as assembly. It's really just buy the RAM. It has other components in here if it matters to you, but for the most part, really, I just needed to put in the RAM. That was it. Comes with a Intel Gemini Lake J4105, at least this particular version. There's a bunch of different gigabytebrix sets, um, but this one is the Intel Gemini Lake version of it. And then I have the website up here as well, so you can kind of see it here. So this is the exact same one, yeah, the Gigabyte website, exact same one that I have. And then I have the box as well. Put that in there so that you can see it. Yep. Gigabyte bricks and yep, gigabyte bricks. So yep, exact same kind. This is actually pretty hard to find nowadays. I paid, I think, around $150 at the time, $149 and change, but about 150 off of Amazon for this when I was looking for like a Linux box for me to just kind of play around and experiment with all the different Linux distros. Um, but now I think it's like sold out, discontinued. It's very hard to find it now. Like even though the website's still up, I don't know if you can actually purchase this anymore. Like let me try to go to buy and see what happens. Buy, it might not even function anymore. Buy, where to buy. Okay, so if you go to where to buy, basically it'll tell you these different places. So um, Amazon, Best Buy, but Newegg, but trust me, it's gonna be, you won't find too many of these. Amazon, I know there's not gonna be that many. There might be some used, maybe some at Best Buy, possibly Newegg, but when I did the last search, there wasn't too much showing up for that. So yeah, but maybe you'll get lucky. But so anyway, I just took it apart, just so you can kind of see the internals of it. This right here, and I'm gonna pretty much, I guess we can move on to the next section, is the micro SD card. Um, but before we get to that, just so that you can kind of see the thing here, so I had to the way that I took it out, there was only two screws, which you see over there, that come from the back, and then there's this part here. So this is the back piece of it, where you see all the it's upside down, but yeah, HDMI to IO. I mean, you can go to the website and pretty much see all the specs, but yeah. So that's that, and then it's upside down, but you can see like the power button, uh, microphone, headphone, USB, and then the micro USB, and power button, of course. So yeah. All right, now the next part, right? So let's say you went and you bought yourself, a Linux box. Maybe you even were able to somehow find the same series. Oh yeah, I should probably explain as far as like the brand. So when I was looking for a Linux box, right, and looking at the different brands of like I wanted to kind of like a maybe not a completely bare bones where I had to get like the CPU and all that. I wouldn't mind it. I didn't really want to like build a PC, but I didn't mind like doing a little bit of work. In this case, I only had to worry about the RAM, but I didn't really want to like build something. I kind of just wanted to kind of get started like as quickly as I could, but I still wanted something that I had a little bit more flexibility because I could have gotten instead of like the 8 gigabyte, I could have gotten a 16 or whatever. But I'm like, yeah, it's not going to be that powerful. I shouldn't really need anything more than an 8, especially if I'm just going to be playing around and experimenting and testing things and whatnot. So, but I was searching for a brand that kind of resonated with me. I just happened to come upon Gigabyte, did a little research, and it's like, yeah, I kind of like this brand. And then moving on to kind of the next thing, when you're once you've gotten the hardware right, once you've gotten your PC or mini PC or whatever, because you don't have to get a mini PC like I did. If you wanted to get like a full blown tower, you can certainly do that. Really anything. You could even use your current PC and just use a oh my goodness, mine's going blank. It's so early in the day, but virtual machine. Yeah, you can use a virtual machine and do Linux that way, which is how I started out with originally. But I wanted to kind of have Linux on like the bare metal, so that's why I wanted to get a little mini PC Linux box. But anyway, moving on. This is the micro SD card, which has Linux on it. So let's move on to that next part here. So over here on this side, this is the one that I use. You can use whatever brand you want. I not sponsored, by the way. I prefer Gigastone. I don't know. I really like Gigastone. I did some research as well, looking for like what would be the best micro SD for me to do some Linuxing on, and Gigastone resonated with me, so I just ended up getting Gigastone. I've gotten different versions, so I have 16 gigabytes. I have the 64 gigabytes, which is this one that's in here right now. And then this one is the 256 gigs. I also have the 128. I use those pretty frequently. But yeah, so micro SD, it does have the SD adapter as well, which is pretty nice. And then as far as and this is also, this kind of came with one of these sets, one of the micro SD card sets, this like plastic little adapter, plastic adapter thing that the SD's in. Assuming you don't get this, the way that you would be basically getting Linux onto your system most likely is going to be through USB from your current PC, and then you're probably going to be lodging it in here. So this is a USB adapter, micro SD card to USB adapter. But assuming you don't have the adapter and you're just going to go with the USB, well, let me go, because you can find all of these. All of these are, everything here that's being shown, I got off of Amazon, just so that if anybody has any questions in regards to it, all of it's Amazonable. But the USB that I got is and you can use any USB. The one that I prefer, not sponsored by the way, I have this one. This is the adata UE700 Pro 256 gigabyte. You can use any kind that you want. I just preferred this one because I just like adata. Is it gonna focus? All right, whatever. You get the point. So yeah, and then is the box basically that it should come in. With adata, I also did some research because I'm like, for USBs, let me do a little research, because you can get any brand you want, but I like to have a brand that I do a little bit of research on, that resonates with me. And look at the little mascot. It's like a little hummingbird thing. It's pretty. So adata, that's usually who I go to. I get adata for a couple of things. Like that's kind of one of my personal favorite brands. As you can probably see over here, I have another adata, which I use for my SSD stuff. So we have the adata SSD. It's pretty nice. And the box for that one over here. So this one's the 240. You can kind of see reflection. This one's the 240 gigabyte external SSD, SD600Q, durable, very nice. Kind of like it. It's pretty nice. So, but yeah, you'll probably be using a USB to put Linux on, and it's the website for adata. Mine's similar to this one over here, but this is the 800 and mine's the UE700, but you get the point. But you can find all these on Amazon. I think that one's going to be harder to find as well, the particular one that I have. But so yeah, now as far as getting Linux onto your onto your device, that's the thing, and wanting to know which version of Linux to put on there as well. My personal favorite is zorinos. Not sponsored, by the way. But the reason I like zorinos is because zorinos is, and I've tested out many different distros. I've tested out Linux Mint. I've tested out Pop! OS. I've tested out, of course, Ubuntu is what I started with. Debian. So many, so many distros, but Zorin's the one that I like the best. And like it says, it's the alternative to Windows. So if you're already familiar with Windows and Mac OS or whatnot, then this is usually a breeze to use. It's very comfortable in my opinion, very easy to get through and deal with, and the user interface is very nice, very comfortable. And there's many different versions, of course, a free version, a paid version, but I love Zorin OS. So yeah. But anyway, I don't think I showed the Gigastone. Yeah, Gigastone website. You already saw the version that I had, like the 256 one down there, the gaming plus one, like this one. But you can really kind of get, like, you can do the research yourself, figure out which one kind of makes sense with you. If it's a Linux, which Linux is usually pretty lightweight depending on what you get, there's a variety that you can choose from, whichever makes sense with what you're trying to do, experiment with and whatnot. But yeah, getting it actually onto a USB or a microsd card. So I have it on a microsd card, and there's a couple different things that you can do. So if you want to create a bootable drive, a bootable USB drive, you can use Rufus. I definitely recommend doing your research to know what Rufus is. But you can create a bootable USB drive, basically, so that you'll be able to put a Linux distro on. Or balenaetcher, which is my personal favorite. Balenaetcher, same thing, basically. You can just flash an OS image onto an SD card or a USB drive, and that's how I usually do it. Easy, simple, whatever. Make sure that whatever driver SD card that you're using, you don't have anything important on it, because everything has to be completely empty. Everything has to be, it's going to be just whatever's on it is going to be lost forever. So just make sure, because it's only going to have the operating system, and that's that. And then yeah, so but yeah, you have Rufus or you have balenaetcher, and there's probably other options out there, but those are the two most popular. And then of course you have this thing called Ventoy, a new bootable USB solution. Definitely do your research on all three: Rufus, balenaetcher, and Ventoy. I love Ventoy because it's so convenient. You can have multiple Linux distros on one bootable device, whether it's a USB or whether it's a micro SD card. In this case, I use micro SD cards like a 128 gigabyte or 256 gigabyte, and I'll have multiple Linux distros on there, so that whenever I boot up the Gigabyte PC, I basically get to choose off of Ventoy which Linux distro I want to boot up, and it's very convenient. I'll probably show an example of that in a future video, but there's other videos that pretty much show how it's done, but that's basically what you do. So Ventoy is extremely convenient, very useful. I definitely recommend doing research on that as well. It's just very, very nice. So these are pretty much just the main things that I use basically to get started with Linux. Of course, you have the internet, which is basically information superhighway, so you can figure out tutorials, everything like that to get yourself started. This is basically what I did to get myself started. So you get yourself a mini PC. I mean, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be mini, but you get yourself pretty much a bare, it doesn't have to be super bare bones, but a bare bones if you want, or a semi bare bones PC, and then outfit it with whatever specs you want. In this case, the only thing that I had to outfit it with was the RAM, 8 gigabyte RAM from Crucial. Got everything off of Amazon, by the way. So mini PC, the RAM. After that, you can get your storage device of choice. So, well, not the SSD. So if you want to get a USB drive, you can do that. If you want to get your micro SD card, you can do that. It can be any brand you want. It doesn't have to be the brand that I got. And then you're good to go. What will usually happen after you have everything set up, and then you turn it on, and then it'll usually, and you can do the configurations as well as far as the BIOS, or in the starting menu. Sometimes it varies depending on which brand of PC that you have or use or whatnot to do all your setups. But usually, you'll get a prompt once you have the bootable device, whether it's your USB or micro SD card, and then you get to choose the OS that you want to boot up, and then you can pretty much run it and then go through all the installations and whatnot. But that's pretty much how I got started. Now this is just one one PC out of many different computers that I have. So like right now, this, like everything that I'm showing, like from this PC and whatnot, this is all Windows that I have everything showing on. But you can, like, I have so many freaking computers. I have so many freaking computers, from mini PCs to towers to Chrome BZs, Chromebooks, and then some. But yeah, so basically you can get started just very simply. Everything can easily be done off of one website. In this case, I got everything off of Amazon, and it's very simple. Very simple to kind of get started with Linux. So it all depends on what you want to do. All of this combined, I'd say probably didn't cost more if we're just taking into account just the PC, the RAM, the micro SD card, the USB drive, which really those four should be more than enough to get started. Maybe $200 or less, right? Probably. And if there's a sale or a discount, yeah, you can probably get that within about 200. Nowadays, it varies because there's been a lot of issues as far as supply and demand, and if things are available, and a lot of things have gone up in price because it's so hard to find nowadays. But that's basically how it's done. This is my favorite personally, of all of the mini PCs that I've looked at, because honestly I could have gotten one that had a better processor, right? But it gets done what I needed to get done. Like, it was inexpensive, 150. It wasn't too bad. It does everything that I need to do. It has so much that comes with it. Like, if you just look at the specs, it's kind of crazy. It has dual HDMI outputs, man. It's kind of a beast. You got the gigabit LAN, which personally I don't use because I just mainly use Wi-Fi for it. It has the Bluetooth. It's pretty nice, and it's compact. It's very decent for what it is. So, but yeah, it's just kind of a random video. It's not. It wasn't intended to be any how to very specific or clean thing. It's just kind of just some random little thing that I just kind of wanted to talk about in regards to how I got started with learning Linux and whatnot. And anyone can pretty much do it. I started off not knowing really anything about how computers worked. And I didn't even know that Linux, like back in the day, I didn't even know that Linux was like an option as far as operating system. Of course, I only knew about Windows and Apple or Mac like everyone else did. I was like, Linux? What the heck is Linux? But once you get into it, man, well, I guess it depends on your level of interest, but once you get into it, if you can really get into it, you will learn to appreciate Linux, and you'll find it to be very fascinating, very interesting. And I should do a follow-up Linux video as well, which we may do in the future. But yeah, just wanted to kind of talk about, my little starting journey into the world of learning how to do computer things and whatnot. But I guess that's it for now. Later, and like always, live peacefully and take care of yourselves. We are out.